Hello, friends. Ever consider we may be in a state of malnutrition? The lack of wholesome meals are major contributing factors towards disease and behaviors, just like oil and gas to a working vehicle. Not to mention lifestyle are very real considerations. After 20 plus years of listening, surveying, observations, and hosting retreats, I interacted with many patients and their families. I myself was a patient overcame 3 major health challenges. My experience and insights will help to equip you, my audience, to unpack and eliminate guessworks before you visit your doctors. Welcome to my show, Optimize Wellness and Maximize Life by way of 1 degree change. Well, hello, welcome back. This is episode number 11 and is about the third part of a series of 3 parts regarding the topic of stress. Now, many of us don't think of stress as a cause of disease, but in the Western world, many of the components of a disease development begin with stress. In fact, many doctors consider stress is really a major cause of illness, and they call it stress is a killer because it affects your physiology so much. Now, today's topic is about how stress can affect some of your glands, your brain, and also your hormonal output. And I wanted to welcome all of you back. We had talked about relational stress. That was part 1. Part 2 was about a stressor called finances or relationship with planning, how to de-stress through security of relationship with money within the family. And one of my favorite part of that story was about, as a little girl, how I plan my finances, because we all have a relationship with the way we handle finance. And that was my personal childhood relationship with money. Oh, I can talk a lot about how money can be handled. And now, today is about part 3. Part 3 is all about our physiology, how stress actually affect us and cause illness. And we are so excited here at Rekindle Retreat. I hosted a retreat place, and this was after I retired. And now I am taking off all over again with this platform I have today, because I'm over 70s. So I just want people to know there's hope. And if I could share with you some of the key insights about how to stay healthy, live stronger and longer, and filled with vitality and hope. Now, that's not a guarantee because everything must be applied. So, today's 1 degree change is having awareness of how your body take in stress and how that stress actually can become a disease, and possibly some suggestion about some of the herbs that you can consider inquiring. And remember, we're going to have classes, and Zoom class is coming up. And uh, next Monday's session, I'm going to talk all about what is involved in our class and how you can get in. And we're preparing at my office, my team is preparing how to let everybody engage. And it's going to be very reasonable, 2 sessions, and teaching you a little bit of every 1 degree change so you can go into a mode 2025 learning how to prevent stress, distress, and even illness. Well, stay tuned after this commercial, and I want to tell you my journey of how I overcame illness, and I believe God really healed me. He is my first healer. And after that, I have a responsibility to take care of my body and keep it working well. Stay tuned. Hi, Dr. Mary Axness here. At age 72, I finally retired. And guess what? I wrote a book. It's called Optimize Wellness and Maximize Life. And you know what? God healed me from 3 major medical challenges. One of them was a serious brain concussion injury over 10 years ago. And the doctor said there's nothing they can do other than just sit on the porch and rock. That didn't sit well with me at all. So I do what I knew best to do. Eat myself back to health, plus co-labor with God, and did a lot of study and understand how to feed the brain well and recover. Now I can say, order this book. I'm going to have classes over this too. And come along and grow young with me. Retirement is just a new chapter. Well, welcome back. I hope you give me some feedback about what you think of that commercial as far as sharing a beautiful testimony, how I was healed, and I realized afterwards I have received such a gift of life to be able to continue. And not only that, I realize as a steward of my body, I have to take good care of myself. And on my interview, which I'm going to put the link over here, it talks about how to be a good steward of what you've been gifted. I've been gifted with good health, but I've not always had good health. I have had 3 major health challenges. Well, today I want to bring awareness. We here at I Have Today show, we call that our ABC. Is A is awareness, B is begetting, and C is about changes. ABC is to let you have some knowledge and coming into awareness of what may be possible. And then change is when you set your mind to make a difference for yourself, to love yourself, to good health and wholeness. This is what this 1 degree change is all about. I want you to have a good quality awareness, ABC, about when stress or stressors come in, what does it do to your body? So that you do not end up literally having disease and symptoms and affects your whole health, emotional state, uh, mental capacity to function fully, and physical decline is all tied together. Now, I wanted to tell you about this. This is the adrenal gland that I wanted to focus on, and this is part of my book. And remember my book? Optimize Wellness and Maximize Life. This has an association to with wellness as well as having fullness of life. So, what is the adrenal gland and where is it? The adrenal gland is your will help your body to know what to do when there's stress coming in. We call it fight or flight, or some people actually give up. So there are 2 parts to our adrenal gland, and you saw it. Let me let me show you again, is that two little, right here, that two little dots. They look like a little mushroom cap on top of your adrenal. And they're very tiny, and they're just behind you, right below your shoulder blade. Now, there are two, one on each side, and the inner part is called the medulla and is responsible for releasing hormones, chemicals in relations to stress. And when stress come in, it will cause these glands to work for you. And these reactions actually help uh, elevate the heart rate, a rise in the red blood cell and blood pressure, and causes even your pupil to dilate. It's like, oh. At first state is you are in like a resistant mode, like, excuse me. And there are different herbs that I actually share with my former patients, what I can prescribe for them. Then there is really a place that people get to, they are actually now stressed and in the fight or flight. And that's when they need different kinds of herbs to calm the whole body, not just the adrenal. Then finally, when people get extremely stressed and it become their lifestyle, their adrenal cortex will produce um, cortisol or cortisone, and they're best known as to help maintaining blood pressure. But not only that, your adrenal gland is also connected to two other areas in your body, and one is called the hypothalamus, on one on each side of your brain, is also producing hormone. Isn't that interesting? And then the other parts that is being affected will also is called the pituitary. And we know there are at least three glands involved. Today, I can only talk about one, which is your adrenal gland. People don't realize our body is so connected. You can't say, I'll just take care of the adrenal without helping your hypothalamus and without uh, affecting your pituitary gland. So today is just the adrenal, and the adrenal is also affecting your immune system. And especially, we hear the word very often, inflammation, your inflammatory response, because it responds to injury, and the cortisol will also become very taxing, and the body will respond whether you like it or not. So now this stress response is meant to be very short term if you know how to resist it. Well, how do we know how to resist it? Well, you think through something. How is this going to affect me? When I was a little girl, let me tell you this little story. My mom will say, how come you're always so even and nothing seems to affect you much? I was a little kid, only 6 or 7 or 8 years old back then. I remember telling my mom, Mom, why would I want to burn my cells? I'm just a little girl. To tell you the truth, I'm still a little girl at heart. So don't take things in too deep because it will ultimately cause a disease. And what will happen is fear will become some of the major response. When people are frightened, they go into a major worry mode, like, oh, everything is going to fall. Well, we have election. I actually have somebody says, where am I going to get my abortion? I said, what? You see how worried, frightened people can get? they're not even coping with today. They're coping with future that may or may not ever happen. And so now let me show you. This is an illustration that is so out of touch with what your body is experiencing. So we got to be really, really careful where our mind takes us. And it's going to disturb the whole system. Not only that, it will infect all the people around you. So you have to be careful who and what and why you listen to some of these crazy informations that come in to distress you. And I call that media can be a distressor. And media uh, that is inappropriately uh, broadcasting bad news instead of solutions, then you have to be, oh, remember ABC? Be aware of what you take in and who you take that in from. Now, I call that major offense coming into my space. Now, let's talk about bodily function. And the body actually can shut down. Also, one of the example I used to explain to people, why do people pass out? I was involved in a very serious car accident. That was one of the third miracles. The shock was so severe that I actually fainted. That is actually can be a good thing. Depends on how long the duration that people pass out. It's the way the body protects you that so that your whole body don't shut down and go into extreme shock. That will take you a lot longer time to come back to a balanced state. So how you handle stress. And your body is created to handle many things. And when your body is shut down, you have to really know and be aware. That was a good thing that actually helped me. And you all heard about stories that, oh, when a child uh, get run over by a car, a mom would literally go and lift the top of the car, or I mean, the part of the car to be able to get the baby out. That's your adrenal at work. Fight or flight. And sometimes it takes that mom a little bit of process, and she may go into shock afterwards or trembling just to come back into a state of we call homeostasis, a state of calm. And provided we have people around us to help us too. So now you know how the adrenal gland function in such a way that is here to protect you, that is here to uh, give you a way to live through a very traumatic time. And these body parts are worth taking care of and nourishing. So now we recognize this, there are diseases that are caused by adrenal dysfunctioning, and we call it Cushing syndrome, and is caused by abnormally high output of cortisol, which is a hormone that is now become dysregulated. And not only that, your adrenal, when it's failing to work, because you live in such a high stress state. Many people do that, especially post the last few years, post COVID. Um, they have had different responses. Their body has had gone through the distress of disease that comes in uninvited. And so now the adrenal began to fail and is called another disease called Edison's disease. And when your body fails to work, then chronic illness, chronic fatigue, weakened muscles, our muscle health is very important because we can feed it right to build muscle. Because when you have a disease that is involved with adrenal failure, guess what? You lose weight, then low blood pressure, you become very irritable, and depression may come in, and you will crave a lot of salty, heavy spice food. I'm not talking about herb. Herbs are very therapeutic for our body, but if it's overly spiced, overly stimulating, that means it can become what we call your adrenal is failing. And it can even affect uh, women's menses, your period, and then hypoglycemic. That means you can't control, when your appetite, when you get hungry, you literally get so weak that you just grab anything. You remember sometimes you observe women that go to the grocery stores, they have to eat that food right there. That's hypoglycemic, and it has something to do with your adrenal function. Then finally, it's called total fatigue. It's characterized by an absolute abnormal high cortisol level. And what happened is it will start borrowing enzymes, minerals, nutrients from your heart, from your brain, from your gut, just to feed the adrenal. We call it, I call it, you depleting your uh, energy bank account. And not only that, by now, your heart is being affected because remember, this adrenal gland is also connected to other places, your pituitary and your hypothalamus. All that is to bring awareness to you, help yourself to de stress. Meaning, remember, part one is out there, the problem is not in here. I got to take care of myself so I can take care of other people. So, the adrenal is what I call is one of my master glands. Other people may not agree, but when I filter out stress, it's out there, not in here, and maybe tomorrow, not today. It's not that urgent. Now you're beginning to learn to regulate and help your adrenal gland to sustain a normal level of cortisol hormone output. So I am so glad I get a chance to just voice this and let you all know your body functions as a whole. And when you go to the doctor, not all of them will say, is your adrenal gland? They'll give you a medication to sometimes a chemical to suppress that particular symptom. So you think your adrenal is getting better. I actually compound certain herbs, and some of the herbs that you're going to want to know about is rhodiola, uh, schisandra. That actually helps your liver, not just the adrenal gland. And you have heard of silymarin. That is an herb that's very good for your liver. Your liver makes hormone too. And then some other ones, especially when you don't sleep well because you're so disturbed, it's all stress, your gut isn't working well. Remember, they're all connected down to your microbiome. That's when I recommend different herbs for you to relax, and they can tonify your body in such a way that I will give you certain things for you to calm your adrenal gland down, and specifically targeting your degree of stress, and also listen to, where does this stress come from? Does it deserve your time? Does it deserve your energy? Does it even deserve you to get sick over? So I want everyone to begin to realize your body is all connected. They're all interconnected. You are a whole person. We've been given such a stewardship to take care of our body, nourish our soul, our emotions, our mental state. You are worth it. You're beyond worth it. We're all beautiful, especially women. We help to complete each other instead of compete. Jealousy, that will bring on stress too. That's just one thing. Well, next week, I'm going to talk uh, about more and more about our classes coming up. Now, be sure you go get this book, Optimize Wellness and Maximize Life. Is actually like a manual to help us step by step, one degree at a time. And when you join me on these classes, now there's a small fee, not much, but so that more people can come in and understand the relationship between optimizing wellness and maximize your life so you can live long, whole, stronger, and with more vitality. And I'm so excited. Thank you for coming to my show. Let's do our meditation. Well, thank you, God. You have spared me from so much stress and distress the last 24 hours, that my body is working optimally, that I feel refreshed. I am grateful. I am healthy. I can eat, sleep, poop, pee, sweat. I know that sounds funny, but when you can do that, you have better awareness where you're at, because out there all around, it is such an assault to our mental state, our emotional state, our community. It's very affected. So thank you, God, for keeping me healthy and well. And when I go to bed at night, I know all is well. And I thank you for it. And I thank you for joining me. I will see you next time. Bless you.